If you're with me tonight, if you're with us tonight, you've made it through 56 hours. That's right. In this week's fast, that's where we are. And let me tell you, this is no small achievement. This is no small feat. By this point, your body is deep in healing, fat burning is steady, insulin is low, the ketones are climbing. But here's the thing. This is also the moment where distractions feel louder. They feel tougher. They feel like, man, there's everything going on. And in this episode tonight, we're going to talk about the theme, right? We're continuing our finishing strong. And in particular, we're talking about focusing. And the theme for this show is discipline over distraction. Discipline over distraction. Because motivation has gotten us here. It may have started the thing, but discipline is what's going to carry us through and carry us into success. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here we are. I educate, I empower, I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. We are 56 hours, that's right, 56 hours into this week's fast, and I'm so glad that you are here. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments, because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am excited that you are here. If you have questions, go ahead and pop those in the chat. Put a Q in front of them so that we will know that that is a question. It's one we need to get to. We got some exciting things that we're going to talk about. I've got my monitors off to the side. Got my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And then, of course, right below me, I have my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at to see what's been going on with my blood sugars here in a little while, over the last little while. Let me say it that way. Okay, so we will we'll take a look at that here in just a minute. So if you are here, if you're ready to go, if you are here with me tonight, if you are interested in figuring out what we're going to do, how do we go about incorporating all the things that we've learned into our lives? How do we finish strong? I want you to go ahead in the chat. I want you to type the word discipline. Discipline. Discipline in the chat right now. Let's declare it together. Let's say it together that we are disciplined. And I'm going to make a point here in just a minute about discipline, because sometimes we think discipline is just if we're strong enough, if we're tough enough, that's not what it is at all. Okay. So we'll take a look at what's been going on with blood sugars. A couple points that I want to make for you is if you've not done so yet, you want to make sure that you get over to our YouTube channel. And we are currently in our Strength, Strategy, and Mindset, our Bridge to Mastery series, which is a series as we get ready to launch our next 100-day activity. And when you get over there, here was one of our walking episodes, right? So we've been walking. We did a 100-day walk to consistency and health at the beginning of the year. Then we moved into our Strength, Strategy, and Mindset. And walking is still one of our pillars, so we're not giving up on walking. And this is just an episode that we did yesterday, just highlighting again for everyone and reminding everyone that as we are continuing in this space, we're not giving up on the walking. It is also something that we're doing, okay? So that's our walking episode. We also have been doing our strength strategy, and let me move over to that one so you can see some of the things that we're doing. So here I am. I'm doing some... what am I doing? Some dead bugs there on the in my workout area to make sure that we get that blood flowing, get those muscles moving, get those juices going, get the temperature in our body up. So yeah. So we're doing that. I've got, let's see, what else am I doing in here? I've got some squats that we're doing. Here I am doing, let's see, what am I doing here? Also, some hammer curls, right? So all of this is with the intention of knowing and saying that I'm doing what I need to do for my health and for my body. Okay, so make sure you get over there. And if you're sending someone to the channel, remind them that they want to get over when they get to the channel. There are a couple of playlists that we want them to look at, and the first one is a playlist that's called Start Here. Right, so Start Here playlist, and this is intended to get them started, to jumpstart their process as they're moving through and they're saying, hey, how do I get started? There's the Start Here playlist, which is a curated list of videos that we've done. These are, if you want to know what do we teach, how do we work, what are the concepts that we're doing here that sets us up for success, that will be there in the Start Here playlist. And then right below that, this week's video. So all the videos for this week will be in that list. All the videos, our flagship show, our our fasting, our strength strategy and mindset, our pop-up lives, the shows that we're doing right now, this will show up in there as well. So if you want to know what the conversations are for this week and what's going on for this week, get over there and watch that. And also you get to see what I ate. I ate to start the fast, what I'm going to eat to break the fast. All of that is right there on the channel. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead now and let's take a look at my numbers according to my different meters and graphs, and let's walk through that process here. And let me go ahead and pull that up. Pull those up, and let's start out with my Freestyle Libre. You see right now my blood sugar is 67. Actually, before I do that, let me go back here for just a minute. I didn't get to welcome everyone, so welcome you to the show. I said, come on in. So welcome to the show, wherever you're joining us from, whether that is Instagram or TikTok that we are now, or LinkedIn or Twitch or Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. We are so excited that you're here. Those of you who are over, if you are a TikTok, just check over there to make sure that we should be live. But you know, we want to make sure that everything is going according to plan. All right, so let's go ahead and now let's go back over and let's look at our monitors. So let's go back here. So here we are. So right here. So this is my blood sugar right now. 68 is what my Freestyle Libre says I am. And if we scroll down here, you'll see my blood sugar, if I can put my finger, has been running in the 80s for most of today. Right. So scrolling through. And then as we got to the end of the day, right at about, what's that, 5 o'clock, it dipped below 70. Below 70 and kind of been going fluctuating above and below 70. So I love when I see those numbers. If I look at these reports, first let's take our time in range, and this is going to give us 96%. So 96% in range, and then down below you'll see 4% of my numbers are actually in the low range. So those are usually the times when I'm fasting, and that will show up as a low. If I go to 90 days, 87% in target, and then 13% lows. Once again, those are usually during fasting. And then if you go to time average blood sugar, right up here is what my average is for the last 14 days. That's 92. And if I switch over to 90, 89 is what my average is. And then down here, these bars show me what my average blood sugar is over different periods of the day. You know, so midnight, there's 3 a.m., 6 a.m., noon, and so forth. And you get to see that right here. So I love watching that because it breaks it out into the various times of the day. And then now let's go ahead and let's look over and see what my numbers are according to my meters. All right, so I've got my Keto Mojo here. Let me get over to this one. Keto Mojo here, and I've got a contour. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's hop over, and I've got my container that has my strips. So I've got a blue one for ketones. I've got a brown one for blood sugars. I've got a Lancet that we're going to take out there. And then I have the strips that I'll need for the contour. So let me go ahead and get this back over. Get a strip out for the contour. Oh, that one fell out. So let's grab that one. That works just as well. And get that into the monitor. And we're going to go ahead and open up. Let's start with the blood sugar strip. I'm going to start from this side. And get that out. Oh, there we go. And then I'm also going to go ahead and open up the ketone strip because if I don't, sometimes it's hard to open and difficult or challenging, and then I end up having to stick myself again. So here we are. So got that one out, and I'm just going to pull it out and just leave it in the container right about there. Okay, and move that off to the side. Here's my lancet, and let's go ahead and grab a finger. We'll get a finger stick, and this is the one that we've been kind of picking on. So let's see if that gave me a good, yeah, there we go, a good nice drop. And let's get that started. So this is the blood sugar for the Keto Mojo. Get it started also here on the contour. And while that's doing, let's come back over here. So 65 is what the Keto Mojo says, and the contour says 70, and then of course right there the Libre says 70. Oh, I say contour says 71, and then let's go over to this guy, and it says that I'm 98. And as you know, the Dexcom tends to be a little higher. And let's get that strip out, get this one in. This is the ketone. Go ahead and drop in the comments, what do you think my ketones are going to be? What do you think my ketones are going to be? Let's get this one started. Okay, and I see some people starting to put some guesses, some drops in there. Go ahead and do that. Get this stuff out off the table. All right, and boom, boom, boom. Okay, so 0.2. 0.2. So we'll take a look at that here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and let's get to our Keto Mojo app. And let's go ahead and sync that. Let's see. Come on. There it is. Syncing in process. So when we talk about ketones, we want ketones to be between, well, less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and above that considered therapeutic ketosis. And we'll take a look at, let's see, did it pull it over already? Yeah, there it is. All right. So we're looking at these numbers right here. So 18, right? And then the glucose, and then the ketones. So we want our ketones to be our GKI. We want our GKI to be as low as possible. We want the glucose to be low, and we want the ketones to be high. Okay, so in this case, my ketones are low. It looks like it's in the normal range. And I see Gian dropping something there, and she says something must be wrong. Yeah, so we've had some challenges in the past. We've not had this issue in the last little while, but one of the things that I've noticed is that occasionally I'll have, for instance, here my blood sugar is 65, right? And so there's really no reason why my ketones should be 0.2. And we'll look at numbers here in just a minute so we can see what's been going on with blood sugars. All right. So ketones that are less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And so those are the spaces that we want. Let's take a look at our graph. And here is, let's see. Let's come back here. All right, there we are. And so you'll see here that when my ketones are low, it's because my blood sugar is high. So blood sugar was 101, and ketones were down here at low, or zero, essentially. And as my blood sugars came down, my ketones went up. So like yesterday, blood sugar was 73, ketones were 0.5. And so what we're expecting is as my blood sugar goes even lower, right down here, to 65, so lower than 73, we would expect this ketone to have gone in the opposite direction, right? So we'll do another finger stick. Why don't we do a finger stick here and see now what we get, right? If not, we'll chalk that up to one of those events that we've had in the past. So let's grab another. Let's come back over here. Let's go ahead and grab another ketone strip. Get that into the monitor, get this one off, and let's grab a lancet again and grab a finger, and ow, and let's get that going. Right, here we are. Okay, so while that's running, well, let's go ahead and we can watch it together. Here we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and 0.3. Okay, so still low in the, well, not low, still in the normal range. Let me put it that way. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over, and we're going to take a look at our monitors to see what's been going on blood sugar wise. Let's go ahead and take a look at this view. And here I am, 111 average blood sugar. This is for 14 days, 111. My time in range is 100%, with that being between 70 to 180, right? And my glucose management indicator, which is a surrogate for my A1C. So when I get an A1C, I would expect it to be in this space, 6.0. I can't call it an A1C because it's a calculated number, but I would expect it to be pretty close to that. If I look at my numbers for the last 90 days, and so we've gone here, so 90 days, 114 is our average, and I'm in target 98% of the time, with target being anywhere from 70 to 180, and my glucose management indicator is 6.0, so that hasn't changed. Looking at my daily graphs, let's go back and let's start when we started the fast. So we started the fast right in here, right there, about 120 average blood sugar, and let's kind of trace that from the time we fasted moving forward. Okay, so here we are, 120, 118, 115, 109, and going into the rest of the day. All right, 108, and then into midnight, and then coming down into the next morning, 103, 98, 114, and down into the morning. And right here is what I call the glucose, or the toothpaste effect. So we started out in the upper 90s, and then when I get up and brush my teeth, you'll see that it spiked up, and it went up to 120, probably 120, 122 is the highest that I see there. Let's come, 122 is the highest, and then started coming back down, 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 and here into the 90s, 80s, low 80s, and then dipped close to 70, right? Didn't quite get down to 70, and for the rest of the evening into the 80s. And then coming in, that was midnight, and then coming into, let's see what's going on. So for some reason, it did not pull over the graph for today. So we'll have to get that synced again. But here you see that we're over into the 180s, and then let's hop over and let's take a look at the report according to. So this right here that what we're looking at, right, is the end of that report, and if I pop over to my phone, it picks up right here where it actually dipped below. Let me get my finger. It actually dipped below 80, and it kind of stayed into the 70s, low 80s, and then coming into the morning, right down here, 70s, 80s, and right here is kind of that toothpaste effect that you see, and it went up, and got up to about 108 is the highest I see there, 108, 110, and then for the rest of the day started dropping back down into the 80s, 90s, 80s, stayed in the 80s to where we are right about now. And so these numbers right there, so 70s, and then popped up into the 80s and 90s. Okay? All right. And so that's what's been going on blood sugar wise. And one of the things that I always say, that when you're coming into the fast, we want those numbers to be relatively stable. We don't want big spikes in terms of the food that you ate coming into the fast. So as you're moving into that fast, one of the things that you hear us say tomorrow as we talk about what we eat is we want to make sure that we're minimizing processing, minimizing sugar, all the things that we talk about when we talk about balanced bites. That's where we want to be. Okay? All right. Now let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members, because I see you guys out there. And once again, a special shout out to our folks who are joining us because you saw our content at your doctor's office. You may have seen it in at your church or in your community center. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. Special shout out to the folks who are here from Atlanta Berean, Atlanta, Georgia, Riverside Chapel in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Magazine Street Church, Magazine Street Temple in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and let's say, so Jennifer says, howdy. What's up, Jennifer? She says, howdy all. And Gian says, hi, doctor. Hi, LLG. What's going on, Jennifer and Gian? Gian says, hi, Jennifer. Back and forth from Jennifer saying hi to Gian. What did you eat today, Jennifer? Gian is asking from your garden. Gian said, I really want to try your veggies. And then Bowie says, good evening all. Hello from Gian to Bowie. Gian, did you finish your 48-hour fasting? So Gian was doing a 48-hour fasting. Jennifer says, supper was store-bought bratwurst, homegrown potatoes, lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, and cantaloupe. So Jennifer, lots of good stuff there. Hey, Bowie, from Jennifer. Yes, I finished my 48 and ate a lot. I'm still struggling with my binging habit about fasting. How about you? Bowie says, Bowie, thank you for asking from Gian. I'd love to share my garden, but it isn't good time. It wasn't a good time to travel. Congratulations on completing your fast. Congratulations to Gian from Bowie. Thank you, Jennifer. Not good weather. Let's see. She's trying to get to a 72-hour fast, but she has not gotten there yet. Still near 100 degrees this weekend. I started my carrots, peas, and beans. So Jennifer always has a great garden. Let's see. Gian. Gian says 100 degrees around 34. Bowie says my insurance deemed it so I couldn't keep it up, or denied it because I couldn't have just normal finger stick for now. Yeah, that's one of the challenges, and we're trying to, as an industry, we're trying to get that figured out, worked out, to let the insurance companies know that having a monitor is such a beneficial tool. But right now they often won't for certain populations. So she said, I use a Libre 2, insurance won't cover, but my company has a program, so it's $74.99, so basically $75. Better than $180, yes, definitely. Gina said, I see. Let's see, and so we had some guesses from some of our folks who were guessing on our A1s, our ketones. Bowie says, just started metformin. At least I learned a bit on how the medicine works with my blood sugar so I can manage appropriately. Good job, Bowie. Let's see. And then Bowie, Gian, does your daughter like K-pop Demon Hunters? My baby loves it. Yes, my daughter so loves, young boy singers. My picture of boys in the desk. Okay. So awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's get into our discussion for this evening. So once again, if you're finishing strong, if you are fasting, if you are walking along the path, if you're ready to break away from these shackles and to get yourself healthy and to get yourself in a healthy space, go ahead and drop discipline. We want to see that in the chat as we move into our discussion for this evening. Okay, let's do that right now. All right, so family, let's go ahead and let's hop into our discussion and our thought and talk for tonight. So at 56 hours into the fast, the healing is there. Healing is strong. but distractions begin to multiply. This is the point where motivation sometimes will begin to fade, and what carries you forward isn't the hype. It isn't the adrenaline that comes. It's the discipline. And I want to make a point here just at the beginning about discipline, because tonight's focus is discipline over distraction, right? The late fast reset. So discipline over distraction. So I want you to think about this. Discipline doesn't mean pushing harder. And discipline doesn't mean if I'm strong enough, if I have enough internal fortitude, or I have enough internal gumption, right? If I can just last through it. That's not discipline. That's just white knuckling it. Discipline means that we're choosing smarter. It means anchoring ourselves and taking the next action and aligning whatever we're doing with our why, rhythm, alignment, and structure. That's how you beat distractions in the late hours. So as I'm going through this fast, sometimes the temptation is, particularly when I see people around me, right? So my team members, my family, go out somewhere, or I'm in the hospital. I was in the hospital doing a consult earlier this evening before I came home, and just walking around and seeing the other physicians, and we're talking, and they've got their stuff they're eating as they're going down the hallway, or they're in the physician lounge. So that late part, the distractions that come there, are not always things that necessarily are showing up because we are necessarily choosing that, but the stimulation around us, right? Habits, emotions, accents, and tastes. Those are the reasons why we eat. And so what I want to do in this, I want to walk through 5 key points of this reset. What's happening at 56 hours? Why distractions will multiply at this stage, and we've talked a little bit about that. The difference between discipline and motivation, and what discipline is not. And then I want to give you a 3-step discipline framework that you can use just tonight, starting tonight. And then how this connects to the bigger idea of this blueprint that we're building for our lives. So you ready? Let's go ahead. Let's hop in with it. So we're talking about discipline over distraction. So what's happening at 56 hours? And you've walked through this process enough to know, as we get into 56 hours, your insulin levels are suppressed. Your body is not pulling sugar into storage. It's mobilizing fat. It's using that for fuel. Autophagy is there. Autophagy is moving. Autophagy, that cellular cleanup process, is in full gear. The ketone levels are climbing, which means that your brain has access to an alternate source of energy. Now, here is the paradox. Your body, right, is always, as we get to this point, we always talk about this. So the body's ready, the body's healing, the body's in deep. But the mind is where the battle happens. This is where restlessness happens. This is where you might notice those cravings that pop up out of nowhere. This is where you may notice energy dips. This is where you may think to yourself, okay, why am I doing this? Particularly when other people are around us. This is the moment when the mind wants to wander. But here's the truth. Distraction is a test. And discipline is your bridge that gets you through that process, right? So that's the idea. That's what's happening right here at 56 hours. So why do distractions multiply? So distraction is the test of discipline. So why do distractions feel so strong right now? They feel strong because, one, there are external distractions, and that's what I was just talking about. You walk past the kitchen, you smell food, someone invites you to eat. In fact, today in the office, one of our reps that was there said to our team, "Hey, you guys wanted to have lunch." And so I stayed in the office because I had some stuff to do, and we were getting ready for our pop-up live. And so I didn't go to lunch. And plus, I'm fasting. I didn't want to go there. And they sent me a text. They said, "Hey, do you want us to bring you back anything?" Right? So it wasn't a deliberate attempt to pull me off of fasting, but just the environment was of such. That's what we see. And so everywhere you go, there may be a queue. Because so much of our world and so much of our time is tied into food, that there are food queues all around. There are food queues on the TV. One of the most challenging things for me, I'll tell you, is when I'm fasting, it just seems like it's those times when all the food stuff comes up on my feed. Whether I'm on Facebook, whether I'm on Instagram, or even on YouTube, that's when it shows up. During my non-fasting time, I mean, it shows up too, but not to the extent that it seems to show up at that time. Or maybe I'm just noticing it more, right? So there are those external distractions as you are moving into the fasting space, particularly if you're new to fasting, if you've not gotten into the rhythm yet, then those things will pop up and you think that there is something wrong with the fast itself, but it's just that we've not gotten into a routine as yet. One of the things that happened to me during the early parts of my fasting, when I started fasting, was I would hoard food. I would collect all the food for the week that I should have been eating, and I put it in the refrigerator. And when I got to the end of my fast, I would be going and saying, okay, I'm going to taste this. I'm going to save some of that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have all this stuff. Yeah, because I was used to using food. And so in my mind, if I didn't get it during the fasting, by God, I'm going to catch up on it after the fast. Right? So there are those external cues. Then there are internal cues, right? Fatigue, boredom. I have to, and I'm going to put myself out there, one of the most challenging times for me is when I'm tired. Because when I'm tired, my body just simply wants to have what the body wants. And so if I'm fasting, and that's why I always say I love getting into the fast, because the food noise quiets. When I'm not fasting, the food noise is pretty loud. In the fast, the food noise begins to quiet. But when I'm not fasting, if I'm bored, if I'm fatigued, if I am anxious because of something I've got to do, then the temptation is to go. And I've done a good job of not bringing things in the house that would cause spikes in blood sugars, but there are things in the house that won't cause as big a spike, but they cause a spike. They cause those things to happen. And I'll go and I'll grab. One of the things I talk about is snacking, right? There's no physiologic reason for snack. So I try not to bring snacks. But there are things in the house. There are nuts here. There's cheese here. There's snack food or stuff I can use for snacks. So we used to eat when we felt in those ways, when we're tired, we're bored, we're frustrated, whatever it is. And so food was there as a buffer. So there are those internal distractions. There's the comparison trap. And we talked about this as we went through our Play Your Own Game series. You see people eating around you and you think, why can't I? And suddenly discipline feels heavier. It feels like, well, I'm depriving myself. It feels like, man, and people say that to you sometimes. Why are you starving yourself? And why you just need to have fun. Enjoy your food. But remember, distraction is not a sign that you're weak. It's the very environment where discipline gets forged. I've been walking, or if you've been with us, we've been doing our strength, strategy, and mindset series. And when I'm out there and I'm lifting and I'm pushing and I'm pulling, I'm doing the curls, right? It is those reps where the tension, where I feel the burning, those reps are giving benefit. One of the things that those workouts are teaching is that just because there's burning, just because there's tension, just because there's friction, that doesn't mean I have to stop. I've got to push through that to get to the other side. So discipline is forged in that space. Remember this, distraction is not the enemy. Distraction is the training ground. Every distraction is an opportunity for you to practice discipline. When I talk to my friends who are in the military, people who are in law enforcement, people who are in protective services, what they tell me is the process of going over and going through the routine over and over and over is what gives competence. You can't do the things that you need to do in those spaces if the first time you do it is when you're encountering danger. And just like that in this space, if we're going to be successful, we can't practice the thing at the time when we need it. We've got to be practicing that over and over and over and over. And this is the beauty of neuroplasticity and beauty of what we do. It is a journey. So every time you make a decision to push on a little bit more, just like when I'm doing those dumbbell presses and doing those curls, every time I make a decision to do one more rep, I'm building up the muscles. Every time you make a decision, I'm going to go a little longer. Every time I make a decision, I'm going to eat balanced bites. Every time I make a decision that I'm going to rest, I'm going to get hydrated, I'm going a little further and I'm building that muscle. Yeah, I'm building the muscle. So when we talk about discipline, discipline is not a bad word. And the distraction really is an opportunity for us to practice what it is that we're doing, right? So distractions in the late phase. That's what happens. So discipline versus motivation, right? Motivation fades and discipline sustains. So when I first started talking, I said that often when we think about the word discipline, it is portrayed as though that person has discipline because they have inner strength. They have they have willpower. Well, motivation is that thing that starts the process. People say, well, I'm highly motivated. Well, that's great, but that motivation is going to go. And the thing that sustains us is the discipline. And the discipline is not that inner strength that we talk about. It is not having, I don't even know the phrase. What it is having structure that takes motivation out of the picture. That's what it is. So the person who's disciplined is not just like that because that's how they're built. They're disciplined because they have structure. They have a routine. If you want to be disciplined, have a routine where the routine automatically takes you in the process. If you want to be disciplined in saving money, don't let the money go into your account. Put it somewhere else. If you want to be disciplined in working out, don't come home and then decide you have to go work out. Make the beeline from the office, from the job, to the place where you're going to be working out. The discipline comes with the structure. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between motivation and discipline. So motivation is a spark. Like I get a match and it's on, it's going. It's burning bright. It's the hype at the beginning of a fast. It's the surge of energy when you first commit to something. It's the thing that says, okay, I'm on this job and I'm going to be doing a great job. Day one, I'm excited. But motivation fades. And discipline is the structure you choose when motivation is gone. Discipline is what comes in the late hours, when the distractions are screaming and no one is cheering. It is the middle of the race, when everybody's giving you high fives at the beginning and you got your stuff and you're stretching and you put your number on and you start, and then the buzzer goes off or the gun goes off and you're running and everybody gets started. Motivation. But oh yeah, about mile number 1, mile number 2, and mile number 3, and you're running, and it's just you. What takes you through there is discipline, the things you've put into place that keeps you going. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. They don't wake up motivated every single day. No, they don't. And anybody who tells you that, they're not telling you the truth. But they have built discipline. And that's what gets them out of the door to the run, even when they don't feel like it. It's the same thing here with fasting. Motivation got you started. But at 56 hours, discipline is what keeps you going. That's the discipline to say, hey, I've got a structure around me, and the structure is going to take me where I need to be. So here's your phrase. Here's your phrase I want you to remember tonight. Motivation starts, but discipline sustains. Motivation starts, but discipline sustains. So let's go ahead, and I want to give you a 3-step process, a 3-step framework for discipline, for motivation, and for finishing strong. Anchor, act, and align. Remember, discipline is built one choice at a time. Discipline is built one choice at a time. So anchor, act, and align. So what does that mean? That discipline is built one choice at a time. Because when you first start, the spark, there is usually not a lot of structure. It is, you're going on adrenaline. You're going, oh man, I got this. This is exciting stuff. Let's do it. And one of the things that I told someone recently in the office, there was a lady who came in and she was saying, hey man, when I come to your office, and because I play the videos in the office, and she said, I hear you and I'm motivated. But she said, when I leave and I go home, the motivation goes. So I said, the next time you come, bring a notebook. And while you're sitting in the lobby, while you're sitting in the room waiting for me, and you're motivated, go ahead and come up with a plan of what you're going to do. So use the motivation time to create the plan that's going to produce the discipline. Right? So I want you to hold that concept. So here are three-step framework that you can use starting right now. Number 1, anchor. So anchor yourself in your why. Say it out loud. I am fasting for healing. I am fasting for health. I'm fasting to reset my metabolism. I am fasting to break old habits. Whatever your I am is, that's what you want us to be saying. What is your why? What is your rhythm? The anchor. You got to anchor yourself in that. I am, me now personally, I am fasting to correct my metabolism. I am fasting to lower my blood sugar. I'm fasting because I want to be around for my son as he grows. I'm fasting because there's some stuff that I want to do with my wife. And if I'm not around, I can't do that. What's your why? What's your rhythm? You're anchoring yourself there, because when distractions come, you're going to start drifting, and the thing that pulls you back starts with the anchor, starts with the rhythm, starts with the why. Why am I doing this? One of the questions I ask a lot of people is, people will say to me, well, I'm not committed, or I'm not motivated, or I don't have discipline, and they'll say all these things. And I say, wait a minute. How long have you been working at your job? And they say, oh, I've been there, 10 years, 15 years, whatever the number of years. And I say, how often have you not just shown up to work? How often you just decide to, well, today I'm not going. I say, well, that never happens, right? And if I'm sick, I call in and say, how many times have you called in and say I'm not coming today? And they can say, I can count the number. And people, there's a badge of honor. that I've got all these days that I carry over into the next year. I never take vacation. I'm always at the job. They can always count on me. And I said, wait a minute. What's pushing you to do that? What is the why? And you know what the why is? You get some money. You get some money. So even though you wake up one morning and you don't feel well, you go to the job because you get that piece of paper. And if they somehow say, well, we're not paying you anymore, guess what? You'd be at the house. So what is the motivation? What is the thing that's going to pull you when you don't feel well, when the motivation is not there? You have to anchor yourself in that. Number 2, we want to act. So we anchor and we act. So take one disciplined action, one structured action, one thing in the moment. We're going to act, move a muscle, change a thought, drink some water, go for a 5-minute walk, get your journal out, begin journaling, go out back and start working out, pray, meditate, move, stretch. Act. Discipline is not abstract. It is not I'm disciplined. It is a factual, actual action. It's a choice in real time. It is a choice now each time that comes up. I'm going to act in this way. One of the things that we talked about when we were doing our 100-day walk to consistency is this phrase that people say, fake it till you make it. Yeah. So when we started the 100-day walk to consistency, the idea was that we were building consistency. We were building stick-to-itiveness. And when we started, we weren't like that. And every single day, we added another piece to the puzzle. We added another brick to our consistency. We added another piece of evidence that we can trust ourselves to complete what we needed to do for our health. Each day that we came, and as we moved from that series into the next series, our strength, strategy, and mindset, it was that I'm showing up because I'm toning my body. I'm getting stronger. I am making my muscles metabolically active. One choice at a time, one day at a time. As a matter of fact, one rep at a time. Because sometimes I'm out there and then those last reps, we were just out there with my son exercising before I came on the show. And those last couple of reps in that last set, it's a choice. It's a choice each time. So we anchor, we act, and we align. So make sure that your actions over the long haul align with the bigger goal. Let me say it again. We've got a why. In the moment, we're making a decision that we're going to do. We're going to behave in a way in that moment. And are those things now aligned with where I say I want to go? With my bigger goal. Every small act of discipline reinforces the identity you are building. And you're building an identity that I am someone who finishes strong. This morning I was going to work and there was a news story that they were talking about. There were some students in Tennessee who had recorded an interview when they were in the 6th grade. So they're in the 6th grade and they're recording an interview, and the interview was going to be done with the person that they were when they were graduating high school. So they have videos of themselves asking questions to the future self. And what I want to ask you is, if your future self comes back to talk to you right now, what would they say? What would you say to yourself? Would you say, hey, the stuff that you did got me here and I'm so excited you did it? Hey man, you need to tweak this thing. Hey gal, you need to adjust this over here. What would your future self say to yourself today? And sometimes I'll ask myself that, what would that Dwain think of what this Dwain is doing right now? Are my behaviors aligned with where I say I want to go? So what I want you to do is grab your journal, grab your piece of paper, grab your digital ear, your digital brain. And I want you to write a statement. I am fasting because, and put that there. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing a 72-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, a 36-hour, whether you're doing a 16-8, whatever the fast is, I want you to write that down. I am fasting because. And then I want you to pick one action that you will do that moves you in that direction. I will hydrate, I will move, I will journal, I will reflect, I will pray, I will stretch, whatever it is. I want you to pick one action. Because discipline is built one action at a time. That's how discipline comes. It's not some ethereal thought process that's out there that one day I'm going to become disciplined. No, it is one behavior, one action. Every time, here's the science. You want to hear the science? Every time you make a decision, then your neurons, those cells in the brain, the neurons, those nerves, get stronger in that direction. It's like a path that's been eaten through some grass. And every time something comes, it goes through that path. What we're doing now is we're building a path. We're not filling in the old path. And that's what people sometimes think we're doing. No, we're not filling in the old path. We're not getting rid of, the path is there. That path is there. And that path is strong, by the way. What we're doing is we are building a path around that path. And so what we've got to do is each time that we make a decision, what we're doing is we're digging another part of that path until we can get to where we need to go. That's neuroplasticity. So that's the process. We anchor, we act, and then we align. So what is your discipline action? Right? So what's a discipline action? Why and what does this have to do with what we're doing right now? So the late fast discipline is equal to project completion. I want you to hear that. Let me pause. When I walk, when we did the series, go back and watch that series. It is tied to so many of those capstone principles that we talked about. In the walk, as we're consistent, there's so much that we learn. When I do my strength, strategy, and mindset, there's so much that we learn. So much that I learn simply from exercising for my body. So my body is changing. And as I'm out there, I'm learning stuff about life from the exercise. What you're practicing right now isn't just about fasting. It's about life. It's about how you interact with life. Every major project, every major goal, every transformation hits a point where distractions multiply. The newness is gone. Even relationships, the hype has faded. And the question is, will you finish? That's when discipline matters most. So understand this, that the discipline you practice now in fasting at 56 hours, at 48 hours, is the same discipline that you'll need to complete your blueprint, your health plan, your business plan, your savings plan, your relationship plan. Late in the process, when the newness wears off, when the motivation is gone, what's left is discipline. And discipline comes as we are taking those steps, one thing at a time. Intentional. And that's why if you go to our website, it says that we are changing, right? One intentional step at a time. It's not whimsical. It's not, I guess, I want to, I believe. It is, I'm making choices so that each time what's happening is I'm building neuroplasticity. So that's your discipline. Discipline in action. Discipline in action. So why does this matter? Because what you do now is going to happen in every aspect of your life. And how you learn, how you get through this can help you in those areas as well. That's why it matters. So what are your takeaways? What are the key takeaways? Right? So I want you to know that healing is strong right now. At 56 hours, oh yeah. Insulin is low, autophagy is going on, your brain is like, I got this. Or your body's like, I got this. Healing is there, but distractions are also there. And you can't get rid of all distractions, but you can mitigate a lot of them by putting a structure in place. Number 2, motivation fades, but discipline sustains. Motivation is going to go, just like that match. You strike it, and it burns. But the discipline, the things you put in place, all of those structures that you put in place, the health action plan, understand the heat model, the COPE model, right? Clarify, observe, pause, and execute. I can't tell you the number of times that I use that in my life now. Clarify, observe, pause, execute. Understanding myself, understanding what's pushing my buttons, and how I interact with that. So the motivation it comes, right? It comes, and it's great when you got it, and it's burning bright, and it gives you energy, and you can get started, and you can run. But give me discipline every time over motivation. Because with discipline, I can make it. Motivation is waxing and waning, and it's unsure. And then we want to use our 3-step principle of framework. We want to anchor, we want to act, and we want to align. What is my why? I'm anchoring everything in my why. What I want to do, how I'm going to be. This is my why. This is the reason I'm doing this. I'm going to act. I'm going to find something. And that's the pause in the COPE model, by the way. I don't know if you realize that, right? So when we're pausing, we're doing something. We're having a behavior. We're executing. Pause and execute. And then we align, making sure that the things we're doing are consistent with where we want to be, where we're heading. That's what we're doing. So here's what I want you to do. Often we're thinking about the end. The late hours is not the enemy. Distractions are not enemy. Distractions are really a testing ground. They're there for us to exercise. Discipline is a tool that we can learn to use that helps us win the battle. So when motivation fades, discipline sustains. When distractions multiply, discipline simplifies. And when you feel like giving up, discipline calls you back to your why. So make it personal. Anchor, act, align. That's how you reset. That's how you finish this hour. That's how you finish your fast. That's how you finish strong. So at 56 hours, your body's healing. Your body's healing. but your mind is restless. Distractions multiply. Motivation begins to fade. But discipline is that bridge that anchors you to your why and acts as a choice. And one choice at a time, aligning with your goal, gets you to where we need to be. And that is the way that we finish strong as we move through this space. Remember, motivation starts. Motivation starts. But discipline sustains. All right. That is amazing conversation. I'm not going to say it, but it's implied. I love it. I love that conversation. So you've made it. You've made it to another 56 hours, or whatever the number of hours that you are fasting right now. And the question is, how do we maintain? How do we continue? How do we keep going? And we keep going with discipline, not by motivation. Love having motivation. If I can get some, bring it. Bring it. I'll take all I can get. But it is the discipline that keeps me going, and discipline that helps me to be successful over the long haul. Okay? Awesome. All right. Let's see. So let's hop back over here, and I see Gion made a comment. She said, food cues are all around. Yes, they are. Food cues are all around, and they come at us. This is why, as we are moving through this space, I talk about education, empowerment, and encouragement. Education helps us to understand how the body works, how the brain works, what's going on in fasting. And it helps us to take a different spin, right? We talked about in our last episode about frame shifting, right? So looking at it in a different way and using the shift in frame to be the thing that pushes us in the direction we want to go. So when we educate, the more information we have, the more knowledge we have, we're able to see things and make connections that we may not have been able to make before. We empower with the tools, right? Fasting is a tool. Balanced Bites is a tool. The Health Action Plan is a tool. The HEAP model, the COPE model, all of those are tools. We just gave you a framework. Yeah? Anchor, act, align. Another framework, another tool for you to use. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Understanding how those things all work and using them to implement the things that we've learned and that we encourage with the community that we're part of, that you're growing, that you're building. I'm so excited to see the benefit that you're getting. When people come to the office, I have people who are saying to me, hey, I listened to this one video and I implemented that. I've got a lady who came to see me today, her and her husband. Her husband is not a patient, but they're doing it together. They're in community. If you want to do something, you can do it by yourself. But if you want to be sustained, if you want to go far, if you want to go long, if you want to be successful over the long haul, take somebody with you. That's why I love this community. As we grow and as we build, because we're seeing such benefits in what we do here as a group. And when you come, tell your story. Let us know where you are. What successes are you having? Are you having some weight benefits, some A1C benefits? Is your fatty liver going down? Did your doctor have to take you off of some medicines because you got better? Whatever it is. Or were you struggling to get through that last hour of the fast? Were you struggling to get up and go do the 100-day walk to consistency? Were you struggling with that last rep? Were you struggling with the squat? What is it that is going on in your life? Let's come alongside each other and let's help each other on the way. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Just those two. And around those people are people who have heart disease, who have had strokes, who are predisposed to strokes, polycystic ovarian syndrome, people who have metabolic syndrome, people who have fatty liver, people who are at risk for stroke, for Alzheimer's disease. All of that is a huge, massive amount of people that you have the opportunity to help. You can say to them, we don't have to keep going like this. Our goal, remember our goal. Our goal is long, healthy life. How do we keep you alive? How do we keep me alive as long as possible and keep us as healthy as possible? That's the goal. I don't want you thinking about a number. The number is important. It is a metric. It's a mile marker on our way. That A1C goal that you have, that weight goal that you have, that blood sugar goal that you have, the blood pressure goal, the cholesterol goal that you have, they're great. And we should be shooting for those. But beyond those, I want you to take this thing, I want you to internalize it. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for my family? What does it mean down the road for my grandchildren and my children and my wife and my husband and my cousin and my mama? What does it mean for us? Make this personal. And Limitless Living says that because I'm showing up with my best self and my best health and my best plans, when I show up and I get benefit, I begin sharing that with the community and the community grows. That's the beauty of what we do here on the channel. And Limitless Living, as I said, says I'm showing up with my best self, my best health, and my best plans. I'm not allowing anything from outside or nothing from inside to prevent me from doing what I need to do. I am going to be successful. And I'm so glad that I get a chance to walk alongside you and come along and to help as you help me as well. We'll be back tomorrow for our complete review of fasting. How do we prepare for the fast, get through the fast, and break the fast? Come by, you'll see what I eat for the first time in 72 hours. On Saturday night, we'll have video from the vault as we look back at some of those pivotal episodes that we've had over the course of the channel. That'll be 9 p.m. Central on Sunday morning, This Week in Review at 6 a.m. And then we'll be right back here for Dwain Woode MD Live, Monday at 7 p.m. Central. We look forward to seeing you there. Those of you who are in our community, you'll see a link pop up here in just a minute. We'll talk a little bit and we'll go from there. And also join us for our Strength, Strategy, and Mindset, the Bridge to Mastery, as we are moving in the direction of our next series. So we're about to launch the next 100 days. So we did 100 day of walking and consistency, 100 days of strength training, and we're going to do 100 day coming up. So pay attention to that, and we will see you in the space. Good night, everybody. Have a great one. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you in the community.